Next card.
Hunter's Ambush. 2 and a green instant. Prevent all the combat damage that would be dealt by non-green creatures this turn.
It's actually much better than most of these types of cards usually. Because it could just be a very strong green-only combat trick.
Yeah.
If you're playing very close to mono green and you just blow out your opponents with this card. But otherwise, it's still a shitty fog effect. So D+.
Yeah, we gave it a D+.
It's like a sideboard card or a very last 23rd card in your mono green deck.
This is one of those best case scenario cards.
For sure.
People imagine it being really good. But you have to imagine the average case scenario.
Which is not that good. Next card.
Invasive Species. 2 and a green, 3/3 insect. When it enters the battlefield, return another permanent you control to its owner's hand.
This card's fine.
Vanilla test, and then its ability is
could be positive, but could be negative. So
yeah. There are some times where this card's nuts, but
I think it's actually a C. We gave it a C-.
Yeah.
I guess it depends how many cheap green guys you can get, or cheap in other colors.
There aren't enough. I don't
also,
think.
keep in mind, if they've like encrusted your dude or something,
You can turn to it off a Mystic.
Bounce it.
Yeah, bounce the guy you guess. Unfortunately, there's no pacifism in this set. So
there's Oppressive Raise.
There's a press for raise, yeah.
there's a lot of things, but yeah, it's good. It's fine. The card's like C+. Why don't you put it as C+, right? No, you put it as C-.
We both said C-. I think
it's
it might
a
be
C.
closer to a C.
It's a C. It's definitely a C.
Yeah.
Next card is Colonian Twin Grove. 5 and a broccoli for a Tree Folk Warrior. Colonian Twin Grove power is equal to the number of forests you control. And when it enters the battlefield, put a green Tree Folk Warrior token on the battlefield with this creature's power and toughness is equal to the number of forests you control. So for 6 mana, you get 2 of these guys, right?
Yes.
So this card, the closer you are to mono green, the more insane this card gets, right?
Which is why I've had a range of rating. Yeah.
Right. It could be an A. It could be an A to a C, right?
Yeah.
This card could be 2 3/3s for 6, which is still 6 power if you only have 3 forests in play and you're playing green. Or this card could be like 2 6/6s for 6. It's 12 power for 6, right?
The next turn becomes 7 7s.
So this
Again,
card,
good with Primodox.
right? So here's the thing. This card, I'm gonna say your range is wrong. I'm gonna say this range is like C to A. This card is C to A minus. Because it could literally could be 12 power for 6 mana off over 2 bodies.
If you're mono green.
That's kind of a dream, but yeah.
No. I'm saying that's the best case scenario. Worst case scenario, it's 6 power over 2 bodies for 6 mana.
Worst case scenario, it's 0/0 because you cast it off
because
no land.
Because you're both retarded. I want to punch you both. We're talking.
You really wanted to trigger Morbid.
Like we're talking about like actually how you would play this card. Okay?
Average worst case 3/3 and a 3/3. Which is
fine. 6 power for 6 mana.
Which is C+ range, B- range, I think. You gave it a B+, Stella? I think that's fair, yeah.
But at the highest end, this is like 12 power for 6
highest
mana.
range is absurd.
So, I think it has to be like C+ to A-, like for real. But I could be wrong, I guess.
Next card, Life's Legacy. 1 and a green sorcery. As additional cost, sack a creature. Draw cards equal to the sacrificed creature's power. Yeah, I give this a D+ because it's a little awkward. You gave it a C+, Stella?
Yeah.
This card's not good in limited. When do you want to be doing this in limited?
If
And
they've encrusted your dude,
the bigger
It's not Altar's Rape.
and the bigger, yeah, it's not Altar's Reap, and the bigger the guy is that you're sacrificing, the more cards you're drawing, but then obviously the bigger place you were. Like, the only dream for this card is sacking your Phytohydra for 7 cards, and then getting him back the next turn.
I mean, it is the pre-release promo, so if you picked green, do you play this card?
Yeah, for sure. But that's like the dream scenario. There's no better card to sack with this spell.
Yeah, I don't like this card.
Its card's really
I
bad,
put it in
I think.
Unplayable range.
It's unplayable outside of pre-release when you have the Phytohydra for sure. Is there a reason that you think it's more playable than that, Stella?
Not really.
Drawing cards is green, green is good, I guess, but
a lot of
comes at a
cards,
cost.
But it comes at the cost of sacrificing a high-powered creature in order to draw more cards.
Right,
Yeah, but
Legacy.
I'm damn board stalled, so I'm in a board stall up.
You're in a board stall.
And I sack an unneeded 3/3.
for 3
Draw 3
cards. So
cards,
you
it's fine.
get 3 cards for 2 cards.
Yeah, it's like okay.
Not that good.
You're not that good. I'm gonna drop my grade.
Alright, let's go to Living Totem. 3 and a green for a 2/3 plant elemental with Convoke. When it enters the battlefield, you may put a 1/1 counter on another target creature.
So, I mean, if this card was a 3/4 for 4 with Convoke, it'd be pretty good. So, I mean, the fact that you get like a little
Yeah.
bonus for it being a little bit better, a little bit.
That's how I thought of it too.
Yeah,
So I give
this
it
is
C+.
my this is probably my sleeper pick for a common that might end up being one of the best commons.
Right, for sure. I agree.
Yeah.
It's too bad there's not more mechanics in the set that are based on 1/1 counters, like
Right.
in some of the past ones. But yeah, solid C+.
So, next card is Naturalize. It is a sideboard card. There are not that many good artifacts and enchantments in this set, so it will probably never make the main deck. Unlike Theros Block, where I'm so used to jamming as many enchantment
Yeah.
removal spells into my
Yeah.
main deck. How many Revoke Existences can I
Solid
play?
letter grade higher in Theros block.
Yeah, at least. So
But
there's
D,
that.
D+ in this block.
All right, next card, and we're getting to some exciting ones.
Netcaster Spider. 2 and a green for a 2/3 reach. Spider, when it blocks a creature with flying, Netcaster Spider gets +2/+0 till end of turn.
So this card is also another living totem, like he was saying, where it's like I think is a sleeper pick for one of the best cards in the set for a common, because this
Yeah.
card is a Riot Devils with upside and upside, right? It's mono 100 upside,
I think he's well positioned. There's a lot of like 4/4 flyers in this set.
right?
This guy trades with.
And this guy trades with all of them for 3 mana.
We gave it a C+. Yeah, I mean, he might actually be borderline higher than that.
He's pretty good. He's
good.
strong.
Yeah.
All right, next card is sweet. Nissa, World Waker. 3 broccoli. +1, target land becomes a 4/4 elemental creature with trample. It's still a land. +1, untap up to 4 broccolis. And -7, search your library for any number of basic land cards, put them onto the battlefield, and then shuffle your library. Those lands that you just put into play are all 4/4 elemental creatures with trample. They're still lands. The thing to note about this card is when she makes a 4/4 that's still 4/4 out of your land that's still a land, it stays that way forever.
Forever.
It also,
And it also doesn't untap it.
it also has a summoning
Top.
sickness if it came into play that turn. So
Yeah.
when you alter, all those 4/4s can't do anything, including tap for mana.
So then when your opponent's Supreme Verdicts on their turn, on their untap step,
Yeah.
you're going to be very sad.
But
Especially
limited.
because you won't draw lands for the rest of the game now, too.
But if we're talking limited, huge bomb, right?
Yeah.
I don't think it's like an A necessarily, but I put it at A-.
I think she protects herself better than any of the other planeswalkers in this set, because if you just go, I mean, obviously you'd have to be like mono green, but if you were like
At 6, she protects herself the turn you play her.
correct, and also before that, if you untap 3 or 4 forests and just play like a Riot Devils or a 3/3 or something like that,
Yeah.
like that's also really good, right? She
Again, you have
also
to be really heavy green to have
she
4
also
forests,
only
but-
pluses, right? She only pluses,
Yeah.
which is really good, and then
Well, it's gonna win you the game.
in limited, her ult wins you the game every time.
Yeah.
Unless you walk right into a Mass Calcifier or an Garruk's Wake.
So it wins you the game every time.
It is sweet that they made a playable Nissa card.
Yeah.
I think she's gonna be great in standard.
She's gonna be super fun in standard for sure.
Maybe
Yes.
even in modern.
Not real.
Not close.
Not close. She costs 5.
Yeah, but there is a devotion deck that exists in modern. And
Yeah,
this is
but
another
They
planeswalker.
don't particularly Voltron up
Forest.
that hard. They Voltron up a forest, untapping 4 of them. They'd rather just
Untap 2 target
They'd rather
lands.
just play a second Garruk and untap the lands again.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah,
All
maybe.
right. Next card is Nissa's Expedition. 4 and a broccoli for sorcery with Convoke. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards and put them on the battlefield. Tap, shuffle your library. So this card ramps really hard, actually,
Explosive vegetation.
for
Yeah.
1 more.
But
But
with
Convoke.
it has Convoke, so you can like tap 2 of your dudes, and then like this is really
Yeah,
sweet.
you can like tap an Elvish Mystic to help cast a spell.
Yep.
Whoa! Dan,
You
Stala.
have to be more specific
Oh
than
my
that,
god,
Stella.
how
More
savage.
specific.
How terrifying would turn 1 broccoli, 4 Ornithopters, Nissa's Expedition be?
Wow,
So
you're
we
right.
gave this a C, C
Hands up,
minus,
Pete.
I believe.
I
Right?
think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be good on turn 4, on turn 5.
On turn 3 or 4.
Yeah. but then past that,
It's not that
it's
good.
like,
But it's still pretty sweet. I like it.
yeah, it's a decent ramp spell.
And it's a decent ramp spell. It's a decent fixing spell too.
It's also, like,
if you're splashing.
It's
some
not
colors.
rampant growth, but
Yeah,
you
if
know.
on turn 6 you're casting it for 5 mana and you have that Hydra in your deck, it's not bad. Because
Yeah.
making that Hydra bigger.
Yeah, I can see you like being on 4 lands, convoking this out, and then casting your Phyto Titan at the pre-release.
All right. So next card, Overwhelm. 5 broccoli for a sorcery with Convoke. Creatures you control get +3/+3 until end of turn. So the fact that this has Convoke is really ass backwards.
Yes, because it's
Yeah.
I'm gonna tap all of my dudes to make them bigger and then be unable to attack with
Doesn't even
them.
give trample.
Doesn't give
So this card is basically unplayable.
Yeah.
Well, we put it in the CC minus range.
Why?
Why?
Because it still is an overrun type effect in
For
the really late game.
For 7 mana,
Which
as
is
long as
powerful.
you're not convoking it.
I mean, this was an original Ravnica block. Did you ever play this card, Stella?
Yeah, it was not good.
It was not
Yeah.
good, and it's going to be even worse now. I think it's just not going to be good.
I don't know when this card's ever good.
I think it's in C minus
Like-
range.
Unless you
23rd
literally,
card.
if you, I don't think I'd be happy casting this card if I dropped 4 Ornithopters to cast it.
Nope. All right, out.
No.
Next card is the green, a green
Paragon?
Paragon. So Paragon of Eternal Wilds. 3 and a broccoli for a human druid who's a 2/2. Other green creatures you control get +1/+1. Has green and tap another target creature gains trample until end of turn, as any human in the universe could have guessed. However, I like this card. Green is a decent color for anthems, except it is not as good as white or red might be, where as opposed to being the top of your curve in one of those decks, this is probably the middle of your curve in the green deck. So when you're playing things that are much bigger than this card anyway, you don't really care that much about the +1/+1. So
We gave it a C plus.
card's good. Card's like not as good as the red one, which we gave a B minus. So C+ I agree with. Giving your big fat guys trample is pretty sweet, right? Giving your Photo Hydra trample or Photo Titan a
Trample's
trample is
good,
pretty
yeah.
sweet. So card's fine.
Yeah, all of Paragons are gonna depend on how close to monocolored
Your deck
but,
is.
But it's always a pretty good effect.
Right.
Definitely C plus range.
Right, and make sure at the pre-release you don't let your opponent use their Paragon's ability on any non-creature of the same color, good gentlemen.
Yep.
This is very bad. Alright, next card. This is the green pre-release promo. It is the Phyto Titan. 4 broccoli for a broccoli elemental. When the broccoli dies, return it to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control at the beginning of his or her next upkeep. So, I mean, basically this is an unkillable 7/2 that comes into play tapped every other turn. So when you're just smashing face with it, they have to, like, trade something with it every time or take 7, right? So,
Not if they have 2 Wall of Fires.
oh my god, you're right.
There is Devouring
Or
Light in
Circle
the
of
format, and there is Encrust, which both deal with this card.
But otherwise, it's still fine. It's actually,
Yeah.
it's pretty good. It can't get Pillar of Lighted. It can get Devoured. The only thing that kills this thing permanently is Devouring Light, right? And then, like, Encrust if you can't get rid of it.
Yeah, I give it a B plus, a B minus. Sorry, you gave it a C plus.
Yeah.
I think it's...
I'm not a buyer.
You're not a buy.
Anybody remember when it was misspoiled as a 7/7?
It's
The
a...
mix with that ability, and everyone's like, "What the fuck?
It's
This is
a-
just terrifying."
It's just it's a B minus for me, I think. It's pretty strong, but it could be bad, and it's kind of slow. So...
Yeah.
Next card is the usual sideboard card. It's Plummets.
Broomblade.
It's 1 and a green for destroy target creature with flying. The card is usually good out of the sideboard, especially against things like the bombs in the format, which are mostly flying. So there are some formats where this is playable main deck. I don't think this is one of them.
The other thing too, at the pre-release, if you know their specific colors, you know they have a good target for Plummet already.
Right.
Like red, right?
Which is red or black or blue.
Well, blue's the clone.
Yeah,
Oh no, blue's the clone. You're right. No, never
What's the
mind.
white one?
The white one is also Resolute Archangel. So actually,
so
any of
white.
those colors,
Yeah.
white and blue both have a lot of flyers in general. But yeah, that's fine.
But we gave it a D plus because it is a sideboard card.
For sure.
Yeah.
Ranger's Guile. This is a reprint of many a time as well. It is a broccoli for an instant. It gives your creature +1 and hexproof until end of turn. Card is good every time that you play this card, probably. I don't remember a time where this card is actively bad. It blinks removal spells for 1 mana. It's really nice. Pumps your dude, does lots of stuff.
Yeah, I gave it a C+, you gave it a C-.
Yeah.
Card always makes it in your deck as like the 22nd or 3rd card for sure.
Yeah.
And it's a decent combat trick for green, so we're in. Card's good. Next card is a very strong card. I like it a lot. Reclamation Sage. It is 2 and a broccoli for an elf shaman. When Reclamation Sage enters the battlefield, you may destroy target artifact or enchantment, and it is a 2/1. So this card is better than Harmonic Sliver in Constructed, where all the decks that search for Harmonic Sliver want that card. So it costs the same. It's not 2 colors, and it destroys.
Gets an extra point.
It gets an extra point of power, right? So, and also it's an elf, so it's actually better in in Elf's deck. The Elf's deck normally play Viridian Shaman as a 1-of sometimes in the main deck, definitely in the sideboard. So this card 100% makes it. It has the full upside of also entering the battlefield and destroying an enchantment, which Viridian Shaman does not.
But in M15 Limited, it's probably not going to hit anything.
It's probably not that good, so it's definitely like a C.
C- we gave it.
Because it's a little underpowered, but it might hit
There
something.
will be sometimes you bring it in and you're really
Oh,
happy.
it's going to come out of sideboard all the time because it's just upside on a 2/1, right? So when you want to destroy something. Next card is Restock. This is also a reprint. It's 3 green for a sorcery that says return 2 target cards from your... Yeah, it's 2 target cards. I thought it said creatures originally. Nope, 2 target cards from your graveyard to your hand and exile Restock.
Yeah, getting back like 2 removal spells with this card is pretty nice.
Which is why the green-black deck might be the one that's the control deck, right? If you're getting
with
2
this
removal
card in it,
spells.
it's pretty nice. Yeah, we both gave it a C- though. Definitely like 23rd card.
It's very
area.
specific. It's like in a specific type of deck. Okay, next card.
Roaring Primadox, 3 and a green for a 4/4 beast. Beginning of your upkeep, return a creature you control to its owner's hand. We both gave this a C, pretty average. Like, it's big, but it does have a drawback. You can kind of, build around it to make it better. Unfortunately, there's no Bond Beetle in this format.
Bond Beetle was
Yeah,
so sweet with this
it's
card.
it's not going to be as good.
I mean, it and Hornet.
Yeah, the
seems
Elvish
very
Visionary is now a 4-drop.
Right. Thing that draws a card, yeah. The
Yeah.
Shaman of Spring.
Which is still pretty good, but...
Yeah, it's still
oh my
it's still gonna
god,
be
that
decent.
art is awesome. I didn't even notice how good that Shaman of Spring art is.
Next card, Rootclaw Bear. 1 and a green for a 2/2 vanilla.
It's a bear.
It's a bear.
It's a bear.
On to Sitter Wayfinder.
Satyr Wayfinder. 1 and a green for a 1/1 Satyr. When it enters the battlefield, reveal the top 4 cards of your library. You may put a land card from among them into your hand. Put the rest in your graveyard. I was a big fan of this card in Theros. Like, it fixes your mana. Most of the time, it draws you a card. Fixes your mana. Can fix your mana.
Right.
I gave it a
Card's
C.
really bad in Pack Wars.
Yeah, it is. We both gave it a C. Yeah, pretty average card.
Next card is Shaman of Spring. This art is awesome. 3 and a broccoli for an elf shaman. When Shaman of Spring enters the battlefield, draw a card, and it is a 2/2. So the card definitely does not pass the vanilla test, but it draws you a card. So would you pay 2 mana for a bear and then 2 mana to draw a card? The answer to that question is yes. So it's really good.
Yeah, if you have Primadox, you definitely want one of those in your deck.
Oh, it's even better.
Like if you already have a Primadox, you pick the Shaman a lot higher.
For sure. But other than that, the card's just average or slightly better than average, so I definitely agree that it's somewhere in between. Alex rating it a C and Stella rating it a C+. So I like it. It's a good card. Next card. This is a sweet Ravnica reprint. Siege Worm. 5 broccoli for a penis. It is a 5/5 with
Just a
Convoke
penis.
and Trample. It just looks like a giant penis breaking through a condom.
Yeah.
It's just a 5/5 for 7 that normally doesn't cost 7. It's a 5/5 trample for probably like 5, which is fine.
Again,
It's just
not a lot
big.
of big creatures in this format.
Yeah,
So it's
he's just
gonna be
big.
good.
Yep,
We
he's just
both
big.
gave it a C+.
Probably cost 5.
Yeah.
You probably spend 5 mana and tap 2 guys to cast this card on turn 5, so it's pretty good. Next card is the Soul of Zendikar. 4 broccoli to summon a broccoli avatar. He is a 6/6 with a reach. and he is 3 broccoli for a 3/3 green beast onto the battlefield. 3 broccoli, exile him, same thing. So this card wins every game by itself. Every single one. Because if you do nothing other than pay 5 mana and put a 3/3 into play for the rest of the game, I can't imagine many scenarios where you don't win the game.
They have the Soul of Chandelar and they keep spending 5 mana.
Yeah, it's a killer.
Don't move for 3 and kill the beast.
You're right. But
Yeah,
other than that,
Reach is really good on this dude. Like, there's a lot of big flyers.
right, and all the other souls are flying, so you can like trade with them if you want to, or the other soul is like good soul is flying, right? So this card is very strong. I like this card very much. It's also in the colors where you expect to have a little extra mana or ramp a little bit or something, right? So like having getting the 6 mana to get to cast this card's not that hard, and then spending more mana into it to make 5/5s is also not that hard. So this card is very strong. Definitely an A++ for me.
I could see you wanting to Nykthos with this guy too in standard.
Yeah, I only give it an A because I think it's worse than the other ones, but
Yeah,
It's
I get it in
which ones is it worse than? It's not worse than
Red,
it's
the white and red.
it's worse than white and red,
one.
but it's
Yeah.
the 3rd best one, right, of 6. So it was like A++.
I don't like comparing them too much.
A++.
but- yeah.
This one's like an A or an A+.
Yeah, if you ever have to put 2 different souls in your limited deck, you've done something very correct. But
It would be pretty powerful.
it's a problem you want to have.
All right.
Sunblade Elf. 1 green for a 1/1 Elf Warrior. Gets +1/+1 as long as you control planes. And then 4 and a white. Creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn.
I'm pretty excited to see this as a one of in Legacy Elves. Because you make 1,000,000 mana with Gaia's Cradle, and it's really easy for you to have 1 Savannah in your deck. So sometimes when you're on the shitty Elf beatdown plan, this card seems sweet. But I could be wrong because I don't play Legacy Elves, so I don't know if this is actually good.
Or you just, Crater Hoof them.
But you don't always get to do that. Sometimes your
Could
opponents-
natural order for Crater
sometimes they
Hoof.
stifle
Or I
it.
could natural order for my Sunblade Elf.
or
Sometimes they stifle your
fun.
Crater Hoof trigger.
sometimes they say we're Crater Hoof trigger.
Anyway, M15 limited. I gave it a C. You gave it a C+.
This card's a 1 mana 2/2 in the deck that you want to be playing it in, right?
Well, assuming you hit your
Yeah.
lands just right, because like you cast it on turn 1 off of a broccoli, and then turn
When-
2 you got to get a sunball.
I mean, the ability's good with like the white tokens in the set.
And there's like you would want to play like green white tokens. 'cause
Yeah.
there's a lot of
Yeah.
green and white good things to do doing if you're not playing green and white big fat guys.
Mhm.
Okay, next card
Titanic Growth.
is Titanic Growth.
1 and a green, instant. Target creature gets +4/+4 till end of turn.
Card
Both
is,
gave it a C.
Card is
Yeah.
like a good combat trick.
Yeah, probably worse than
Titanic
Giant
Growth
Growth,
is always
but,
good.
yeah,
It is worse than Giant Growth, but it is good.
but still good.
Next card, Undergrowth Scavenger, basically a Joesteed. It is 3 and a broccoli for a Joesteed horror. When Joesteed enters the battlefield with a number of 1/1 counters equal to the number of creatures in all graveyards. So this card is really weird.
There's random games where he's going to be amazing, but I don't think he would have even been in the deck to begin with.
Right. So the card is like
On curve, he's not going to be good.
on curve. He's never gonna be good.
That's why I give it a D+.
really want to see somebody accidentally run him out with a rest in peace out and just be like, oh fuck, what did I do?
With a rest in peace out.
What?
In standard?
Retarded. All right.
I assume you
Why-
gave this a C- because it's going to be the narrow
Black green
kinda-
deck.
Yeah.
deck, situational deck. you have
Sure.
him in.
I think it's bad. I agree with Alex where it's a D+ where it could fit in a very specific archetype, but it's bad
But there's
otherwise.
not graveyard things in the set anyway, so
Yes.
it's like there's
I
Satyr
mean,
Wayfinder.
yeah,
That's
Yeah,
it.
no, and there's the 3/1 for 3 in black that
3/1, yeah.
3.
So,
Like, and
That's it. That's it though. That's it.
So
yeah.
the sliver, we've run into the next almost playable by itself sliver. It is Venom Sliver, 1 and a green for a 1/1 sliver that has Death Touch, and it gives other slivers Death Touch. So when you're playing green white and you have the white sliver, which is what I said about every sliver up to this point, when you have the white sliver, which is good by itself, you can play other slivers to make it marginally better. But this card is okay by itself because it's kind of like the green Doomblade concept.
I mean, it's the green, black, green
Green
Doomblade.
Doomblade. You're right. Because it's basically like what is that?
Baleful
Baleful Eidolon.
Yeah,
It's basically like
Baleful
that card because Baleful Eidolon got played as a 1/1 Death Touch a lot more than it got bestowed.
Your Muted Vaults can get Death Touch.
Oh, we broke standard.
You're right. Next card is one of my favorites because I talked about playing this card. So before this card was spoiled and Nissa was spoiled, I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to play Verdant Haven on turn 3, untap, play Nissa, untap, and play a 5-mana dude. Guess what you can do? Because literally 3 days later they have spoiled Verdant Haven. You can do that. So Verdant Haven is 2 and a broccoli for an enchant land. When it enters the battlefield, gain 2 life. When enchanted land is tapped for mana, its controller adds 1 mana of any color to his or her mana pool. So when you're playing mono green Nissa in limited and you play this on turn 3 on your forest, then you go, sweet, I gain 2 life, and then you untap, and then you tap 4 forests on turn 4 for Nissa because you're making 5 mana, and then you untap them, and then you play a 5-mana dude. Cannot possibly lose.
Wouldn't it be better to go turn 1 Elvish Mystic, turn 2 Haven, turn 3 Nissa?
We're not getting that ridiculous.
Haven's always been like a role player for
you
the
gotta
green
stop
decks.
somewhere, Steve. Come on, man.
We can't go to that far
I mean,
into Magical Dream World.
The most important thing I think is the fixing on this card, and the ramp's good too.
It's also
Oh,
good
man.
to
Gives
it
you a little bit of
you can
life.
put it on your teammate's land to color fix them.
The next one, ready, is Vine Weft. It is a broccoli for an enchant creature. The enchanted creature gets +1/+1. It's very plain. But then it has 4 and a broccoli to return Vine Weft from your graveyard to your hand. So this card is the 4th most playable aura in this set. Because it, at least when you're getting blown out by a removal spell with this aura, you can get it back later for 5 mana.
Yeah, I actually don't think this card's very good.
It's-
It's
how
too
bad
low
is
impact.
It's too low impact, I agree. But I
don't
do
know how
think...
you think this is playable.
Unless you
Hey, I said this 4th most playable aura.
I just like value Stella. This card.
if you
It's not,
for some
though.
reason need to constantly be discarding an enchantment.
You can discard it to trading posts.
Yes.
You're right.
Oh my god, get all of the artifacts back out of your graveyard.
I just like
So-
how on turn 6 you can get it back and give a creature +1/+1.
Woo! Woo!
You tap all your mana.
Don't play this card.
That's so bad.
It's pretty bad.
Don't play this card.
It's definitely not very good.
Wall of Mulch. 1 and a green. Creature wall with defender. It's 0/4 and it has green and sacrifice a wall, draw a card.
So of course AWOL, not it. Holy shit.
I'm disappointed that this card doesn't
Yeah.
mulch. It should
Definitely
it
do
should
that.
mulch.
Oh man,
but
how
it
savage
doesn't.
is it going to be to sacrifice all of your walls when
So,
they drop the siege?
I gave this guy a D+. I kind of compared it to Wall of Omens, Wall of Blossoms, and I think it's worse than that.
It's a little worse than that, but it's still pretty good, I think. I like the
If
card.
you- gave it a C Stella?
if your sealed pool
Yeah.
randomly has 15 walls in it, and 3 of them are this, it's
I mean, I don't
okay.
think you want to be doing this as a green deck.
But I do think, well, maybe not. A C might be a little aggressive, but I do think you want to be doing this in a
In a
I mean, the black-green control deck, if that's a thing.
this blocks early. You cash.
we're,
like a
he's
seven,
saying that
so.
we're cashing it in. Dan Stella, you're chopping out.
Or you just play like a 3/3 instead, and they still can't attack.
Yeah, I don't know. So next card.
Last card.
Yeah, last card. Yasan, the Wandering Bard. 2 and a broccoli for a legendary creature human rogue. He is a 2/3, so he's a Riot Devils. You get to pay 2 and a broccoli to tap him. You put a verse counter on him and search your library for a creature card with converted mana cost equal to the number of verse counters on Yasan. Put it into the battlefield and shuffle your library. So this card is like the world's slowest, only 1 particular mana cost per turn birthing pod. This card could be very interesting in Standard if there's some kind of sweet toolbox deck with this card. But other than that, I don't like the card that much. But here's the thing. So in Limited, this card is probably bad.
Yeah, it's a little slow.
But it's a vanilla Riot. If you just call it like a
Yeah,
Riot Devils
that's
and then
right,
you just
yeah.
kind of like do it
Yeah.
for value, it's fine.
Right.
I wish the verse counters were just +1/+1 counters because that'd be way sweeter, and you could do more broken things with this card. Now, here's the thing: if you make a blue-green devotion deck where you make it so that you can make infinite mana with Thassa's Ire and the Kiora's Follower, and you play this card, then when you do that, you can actually ramp up to an infinite number of creatures because you can use Thassa's Ire to untap this guy, and you can go like this. You can go get a 1-drop, untap, get a 2-drop, untap, get a 3-drop, untap, get a 4-drop, untap, get a 5-drop, untap, go all the way up to World Spine Worm. Boom!
I mean, is that better than Bovnelia?
Oh wait, where's the colon on that? Oh no, the
It's-
cost is putting a verse counter on him. So if you do it in response, you can just get him up to 11 and then let it resolve 4 times and get worms.
Yes, but we would want to get one of each creature for value.
Yeah, that's why you let it resolve first. You don't do it in response to itself.
Well,
That's
you
what I said.
gave this guy a B minus. I gave him a C plus.
I think he's a C, maybe, because I want to ignore... If you just ignore all of the text on this guy, it's much better. Yeah, but, yo, Santini, you can actually just, with Thassa's Ire and Kiora's Follower, make infinite mana, and then do this guy infinite times, because you can also untap him, so it's really powerful. Uh-oh.
That's not good. Well, we're at the end anyway,
yeah,
so.
good thing we finished.
That's not good. What happened?
All right, off to
All
the
right.
six.
Yeah, thanks
Time
for watching.
to go get food.
Thanks for watching, everyone. I'm gonna
How many people do we have watching at the end of this anyway?
20.
Wow, that's so powerful.
Yeah, we'll save this and put it in the recordings. We did the other half yesterday. If you're wondering why we're stopping here, it's because we already did the gold cards and the artifacts yesterday with the white and the blue. So go back and watch that if you haven't.
We had to save our broccoli for last.
Yeah, we did.
Good luck to everyone playing on a pre-release this weekend.
Enjoy.
We're playing tomorrow night at midnight probably. So,
Probably.
Hello.
Yeah. Thanks, Stella.
I almost said hi, Mom.
Oh,
but she doesn't
Thanks for
watch
helping us out again.
See ya, everybody. Come back next time.
Yep.